So this is the beginning of my Ribbon of Life project, the visual project. I'm going to start with the end result. I want you to see what this thing's going to look like at the end, and then we'll build from there. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at the screen. Right up here, I always like to put in a title for something, just in case I need to go back and look for it later. So that's one thing you should always be doing in Notability. So I've titled this Ribbon of Life, and here is the end result. You can see I'm going to start from the smallest, and I'm just going to keep moving, and you can see the reason it's called Ribbon of Life, or why I called it Ribbon of Life, is I've wound all these together with a ribbon all the way up from atom to biosphere. So overall, it took up about 3-4 pages, but it gives me a nice visual representation, plus everything is labeled there. And then we'll be talking more about this and taking notes on it later. Okay, I'm going to take my own advice. I'm going to rename this. I already have one called Ribbon of Life, so I'm going to call this one My Ribbon of Life. And now I can save this, and I can find it if I just want to type in the search bar. So let's start off our Ribbon of Life with the smallest unit of all matter. We're going to look for our picture of our atom. If you have one, it doesn't have to be the same as mine, but you can take your picture of an atom, put it in. Let's label that as our atom. If you like to get fancy with things, this is the spot. If you like art, I love art. I was an art student at one point. I wanted to be an art teacher. And then we're going to start our ribbon. And I'm going to start creating my ribbon here, where I'm going to go around. And this is where my ribbon is going to be located. And I like to just fancy it up a little bit. And the finishing touches, make it look like a bending ribbon of some sort. And the atom is there, and we're ready for our second picture. Our second picture, from atom, we take the smallest particle of matter, and if we join them together, we get what's known as a molecule. Molecules are more than one atom together. It's two or more atoms together. The example I gave in the other video was a molecule like water is made up of 2 hydrogens and an oxygen. So H2O, for example, is 2 hydrogen atoms, H, and they combine and they touch on a oxygen. So we can continue our ribbon. And we're going to wrap it around to our next spot, to life science's favorite part of all these levels. We're going to find our cells. So our cells are next. If you need time, go ahead and pause to get your picture going faster, or to get caught up. I'm going to move this one over here. Let's title this one Cell or Cells. We have our single-celled organisms. I showed you what those look like. Some of our protists. We had some videos of those. Some of my favorite organisms that we look at in the classroom, and I hope to be able to get you some of those videos of protists to you so you can see some of these unique organisms. They're not plants, they're not animals, they're kind of right in the middle, but they are made up of a single cell. So there we go, starting off. We go from small, atom, a little bit bigger, molecule. Molecules start forming cells. From these cells, anybody know what the next one is? Go ahead and yell it out in your house if you know it. We're looking for tissue. cells together. There it is. Cells that start combining, they start forming specialized types of material known as tissue. So we're going to label this one up as tissue. We're going to continue our ribbon. We'll wrap it around here because our next one will be coming down below. Get our highlighter out. Hopefully you can join yours with a piece of chain, just a regular string. Maybe you're a very analytical person and you like to have just straight lines. You can just do arrows. But I thought making it creative would help you out in remembering some of these. So from tissues, specialized tissues start forming what we all have inside of us and what all living organisms have inside of us, and those are organs. So here's a bunch of organs that I found a picture of. We're going to move this down here, and it's going to be the last one on this page. And you can see all of my different organs. Let's label organs. And our ribbon is going to keep extending down and over. And it's going to come wrapping around down below. All organisms have organs. You saw in the video previous to this, and if you haven't seen that video, you will, where all organisms have some sort of organs. Now, they don't all have the same. For example, you have specialized organs because you are a human. Jellyfish don't have the same organs as you do. They don't have brains. They don't have a nose. They don't have eyes. They are much more different than you. But all organisms do have some sort of organs that make them up. When you get a bunch of organs working together, you end up creating organ systems. So if you get the brain working with the spinal cord, working with all your nerves, you get your nervous system. If you get your stomach and your small intestine and your large intestine and your throat all working together, you get your digestive system. You are made up of a lot of different systems, and all those systems have to work together in order to keep you, functioning. You don't want to have a malfunction in any of those systems. That's when people end up getting sick and having problems. All right, let's keep our ribbon wrapping around. You eventually will submit this to me as a visual, and just creating the visual is how you will get credit for it. All right, and you're made up of even more systems than the ones I have in this picture. So when organ systems all are functioning properly and they create the organism. Now this is where I wanted you to pick your own organism, because from here on in, you have to have pictures that go along with your organism, because the way the biological levels work, there are certain animals and plants in all of these new systems after the organism. So there it is. I'm using the emu. I like this picture. I think it's cute. We're going to go with organism. That is next. Continue our ribbon going around. Now, okay, everybody, from here on in, what you need to do is, wherever your organism came from, you need to know a little bit about that organism. So for me, I knew an emu came from Australia. Now, if you picked a lion, you may want to make sure that you know what lives in the area where lions can be found. If you picked a frog, what kind of animals and other life are around the organism you picked. So from here on in, anything that I choose has to be related to that one organism that you just picked. So any kind of pictures that you grab from now on, make sure they are related to your organism. I didn't want to pick a tiger to be living in Australia with my emu. I needed the same type of organisms living in that environment. All right, go ahead and find some good pictures of some animals and plants and environments uh, for where your one organism lives. From our organism, we have to find, or remember, an organism does things like reproduces. So after organism, multiple of the same organism, you get a population. Population of the same exact organism. So if we have one emu, a population is, wrong pencil, is a group of the same type. All right, we're going to keep our ribbon going. We're going to wrap it around because after population, if you're sitting at home, go ahead, feel free, yell it out. You're not in class. Who knows what's after population? When you get other biotic organisms, the same organisms, in an area that are all living. Remember, biotic. So I want to see other things that are in Australia. So I'm going to toss in a koala. I'm going to toss in, who else do I have here? Oh, there it is. Let me throw in that little Joey. Let me throw in the kangaroo. And I don't want to forget about other things like, let's just say eucalyptus. Because not only do we have animals in a community, we also have plants. So let's label our next one community. And we're going to keep our ribbon flowing through this community. I'll make it look like it's wrapping around and out down to my next page. Yours can be completely different. I don't expect yours to look like mine. All right, we've got our community. We now are going to not only include the living organisms in the community, but we are going to add non-living organisms into that community. That is called an ecosystem. Let me find a nice picture of an Australian ecosystem. This is a pretty one. I like it. This not only includes the plants and animals that are around, but it's also going to include the sand, the water, any non-living, the rocks, all the items that can be found in an area that are living and non-living. I'm going to wrap our ribbon around. Let's keep it going. Nice color. I haven't added some effects in a while. So I can add in this. I'm going a little faster than I should. Usually I put a little bit more time into it. So from ecosystem, we're now going to move on to the biosphere. We're going to move on to the biome. There are several different biomes in Australia. Australia is probably best known for being desert-like. So here's a nice picture of Ayers Rock that's in Australia. That's in Australia. Another biome that's in Australia we also have is the Great Barrier Reef. So we're going to label these as biomes. There can be different reefs all along the coast of Australia. There's plenty of different deserts all around Australia. And all those things lead us to, finally, what is known as our biosphere. Let me find my picture. There it is. Come on. Get in there, Earth. E-R-F, Earth. Into our ribbon. And we're going to finish our ribbon over here. Wrap it up with a little bit more color. You can take a little bit more time with yours. I'm trying to get through a little bit faster for you. All right. So this kind of wraps up what we have here. Let me title this one as Biosphere. And there we have it. We have our ribbon of life. We can walk through, and I think I like going back through this now and looking where we started. We started with the simple little atom. Atom moved up the molecule to cells, cells to the tissue. The tissues form organs, organs form organ systems, and once all organ systems are going, you get an organism. You get your population. You get animals in that same population as in your community, and that includes plants, could include fungus and the bacteria as well. Then we include the non-living things in the ecosystem. The ecosystem then, the different ecosystems form biomes, and those biomes form where any kind of life can exist throughout our Earth. That is considered our biosphere. All right, please do me a favor and finish up your visual and send me a copy of it so that I can see that you completed it.